It was a cold and not very pleasant day, especially for the end of April. And I really wanted to dislike it. I really wanted to get mad because we've got yet another snowstorm. But it just looked too pretty. I know it's kind of silly, but it just looked so nice. I couldn't be mad. But it definitely looked more like winter than spring. Well, except for the birds. Robins everywhere. These ones were taking advantage of the wet ground to poke around and see what they could find to eat. Man, there must have been 100 of them right in this one spot. And of course there were other birds too, like this guy. The snow wasn't steady, but it was falling off and on, and it covered everything. The roads, of course, were pretty much like you'd imagine, slushy, mucky. And though it was pretty chilly, it was warm enough that it was loosening the snow on the branches of the roadside trees. But like I said, it was still kind of pretty. I know, April 30th, but still. And with all those birds around, well, I mean, tree swallows, and of course bluebirds. They were fighting their never-ending battle over nesting boxes. And on the roadside sloughs, things like these little buffleheads. I kept going west through the foothills toward the mountains, and in places like here along Jumping Pound Creek, man, there was a lot of snow. And more of it was coming. This is Sibbald Creek. That snow there is probably knee-deep. But at least there was no ice on it, and the geese were taking advantage of that. And though they are noisy, man, they just made this little creek look even prettier. All that prettiness, it wasn't helping the roads much. There was only one lane where the snowplow had come through, and it was just nothing but slush and muck. But again, it just looked so nice. The snow had come down so hard up at the Sibbald Meadows beaver ponds that it just turned the water to slush. It didn't really seem to deter the birds. They were getting along fine with it. Little juncos found seed heads poking through. And of course the geese with their long necks, they could just stick their heads down to the bottom of the ponds and find something to eat. This poor mallard, though, he was having a tough time. And still the snow just kept coming down and making things look pretty. But then I heard a vehicle coming down the road, and it turned out to be the snowplow. Now the road was open to 2 lanes, so I decided maybe that was enough for the day and turned around and headed back. It had been a tough day of driving, and not really the way I expected April to end. But how could I get mad about that? All that moisture-giving snow, it just made things look too pretty.